And we are live. This is Three Dudes in a Football. I'm Adam. That's Miles, and that's Mike underneath us. And we are here to talk about some NFL offseason shit. So let's get right into it and talk about Deshaun Watson because that's probably the biggest news right now, or speculation, anyways. I guess the biggest news would be Carson to the Colts. So, which one do y'all want to start off with first? Deshaun or Carson?
Let's do Watson.
Watson. All right. So right now, the front three runners, according to Deshaun Watson, that is, he wants to go to either the Jets, the Panthers, or the Dolphins. Do you think he's even going to get traded?
Yes.
Do you?
I do. And Houston is playing this all wrong. They're going to wait. They need to go ahead and get as much trade value as they can for him now. Once people start drafting quarterbacks and, free agency really opens up and people start filling in gaps on their salary cap, it's going to become a lot tougher. Also, Houston's going to want to trade him for somebody to get draft picks this year because they're going to lose their starting quarterback. So they're going to need to have something in return. Houston has nothing in the way of draft picks. It's suicide if they wait till after the draft to try to trade him, because then they won't have any decent draft picks this year and no quarterback. They will be in complete rebuild mode and in the very worst possible way. So everybody knows that they're going to have to trade him soon, and that's why these teams aren't making these over-the-top offers that people are thinking it's going to come down. I think that it's going to happen, and it's going to happen in the next, I'd say, probably 3 to 4 weeks.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Do you think he will play if he doesn't get traded?
I don't know. I don't know how bad it really is. No one does.
I mean, honestly, for the way he's talked and the way, it's all being covered right now, I don't see him even stepping back foot in the facilities, really. I don't see. I mean, he has made it so obvious that he wants nothing to do with them. And with all the other shit that's surrounding Houston, with all the other people that are leaving, not just players, but, front office people. I mean, they done lost their VP of communications to the Jaguars, and, which they need all the help they can get because Urban Myers is already fucked up, last week, bringing in the racist coach from Illinois or Iowa. Where was he from, Mike? I know you know. Iowa. Anyways, that's something we can talk about later. But, now J.J. Watt's also gone, which that was a mutual separation, which they just lost the heart and soul of their defense right there. I mean, yes, he's not the player he was, granted, but he is a presence. He's Houston. It just makes
the team look bad because, I mean, J.J. Watt asked for his release and got it. Really, no questions asked. Deshaun Watson's asking for a trade, and they're not even responding to it about it. The new coach that got hired hasn't really acknowledged that it's a thing. I mean, no one's really trying to even talk about it. And J.J. Watt's like, hey, man, I don't want to be here anymore. After he's been, like what you said, the face of the team for 10 years. Like, oh, yeah, cool, you can leave. We don't want anything for you. I mean, I think it sends a kind of a weird message, but at the same time, I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure if they know what they're doing.
It's more of the same with them.
Yes. I wouldn't have let J.J. Watt go unless I got something for it. Like, just to let him go is insane. I mean, I could totally see somebody letting him go saying, okay, 10 years in, he's on the downhill of his career. Maybe we'll get what we can out of him. Kind of like, I was just off topic here, but kind of like I feel like the Miller, what's his name here in Denver should do.
Von Miller.
Yes, I think they should get rid of him for as much as they can right now. But yeah, I mean, just letting him go, just see you later. I am beyond words. I don't know. I mean, just the presence of a guy on the defense and leading it in the locker room. He doesn't have to get the 15 sacks a year. I mean, he's
not going to. He's not going to get those numbers. But what he's going to do, he's going to give you that presence in the locker room. He's going to give you that. He's going to give you that leadership that you need. Yeah. And right now, they don't have any leaders on that team. You just let go your number one leader of the team for nothing. Just like, all right, cool.
Plus, I mean, think of any team in the league that needs draft picks as much as Houston does. And you can't because they need so many draft picks. If they'd have got a conditional 6th-round draft pick for J.J. Watt to go to the Jets, I mean, you got to have some players, man.
Yep.
And how much time did he have left on his contract?
Year or two. I don't know. I can look it up, but I think it's only like a year or two left.
Crazy.
So Deshaun Watson, he wants to go to either the Jets or the Dolphins or the Panthers. Now, the Panthers in the last week have cut a lot of people to make room in their cap space. They have made $24 million room, or $24 million room, whatever. I'm saying that wrong, but whatever, in their cap space. And there's speculation that they're trying to make a run at Deshaun Watson. I guess they're trying to free up enough money to get him, for 1 year, or get him in this. I don't know how that works. Mike, you know about all that kind of shit. So when they give him, like, say a team does get him, they just have to worry about this year's cap hit, correct?
Not completely. Because basically so the team that's selling the player, I know that sounds bad to say that, but the guy where the player is coming from, they basically take on the signing bonus proration. So there's a dead money hit. Example would be if a player signed a 5-year deal for $100 million. If half of that $100 million, $50 million was guaranteed, it's prorated over that 5 years, meaning $10 million per year. And every single year it's accounting against the cap. So if he's got 2 years remaining on his contract and you trade him somewhere, that team eats that $20 million cap hit immediately. So the day they trade him, they take on a $20 million cap hit. The team that's taking the player has nothing to do with the bonus money at that point. So if he's got like only $1 million salary a year or something low, that's all they have to pay. That factors into a lot of these trades. Because the cap hit to wherever Watson's going to go, probably not going to be that high because Houston's going to have to eat a lot of that guaranteed money that they just gave him.
Right. Okay. Huh. So why?
I think the Panthers makes a lot of sense to me. I like that out of all three of them, to be honest with you. I think that if he went to the Dolphins, even though they are set up to win right now, I feel like they could. Man, that would be one. That'd be a hit to Tua if I was him. I mean, that would be a punch in the nuts to some degree, because this guy, he was brought on to believe he was going to be the next quarterback for them. And I don't think he's lost that job yet. I mean, sure, his rookie season, there was ups and downs, but Christ, that's going to happen with anybody as a rookie. And as far as the Jets go, I just want to see Deshaun Watson win, and I'm not sure that they're a winning team.
No, they're not. They're not even close to a winning team. I mean, I'm just stating facts. They are not a winning team. They're not even close. I mean, yes, wherever Deshaun Watson goes, he's going to make them better. Mm-hmm. He's going to instantly raise the level of the football team wherever he goes, because he's that kind of athlete. But, man, the Jets got all kind of fucking issues.
It's going to take more than a year to get through.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to take more than a year. It's going to take some big moves in free agency, because, I mean, they don't have anything up there.
Watson's an electrifying player. No, not really. Yeah, Watson's a great player, but I mean, he was on a team last year that only finished with like 4 or 5 wins, despite his talent, despite leading the league in yards. And I don't know that he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink for somebody else completely. I think you can't sell yourself out to a point where you're not able to surround him with people who can keep him upright, because that was the biggest problem in Houston, is he was constantly getting beat up, taking sacks. I mean, it wasn't just his last year when they were really bad. It's pretty much been the entire time he's been there. And they haven't had a running game to take pressure off of him. They've had a bunch of receivers in there, so he has targets, occasionally between Hopkins when he was there and all these other kind of mediocre guys they had on the squad last year. I mean, they were still guys that could occasionally get open and have a big game, but he wasn't able to find them half the time because he was running for his life. And, if you stick him on another team where he's running for his life, but take that team and give up your first round picks and all kinds of cash and whatever else you'd have to get, players and all the stuff you mentioned earlier, I don't know if it really works. I mean, to me, I think that's why there's not more of a gold rush to get Watson now, because a lot of people are very aware that, hey, the formula to getting in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, built through the draft. Except for the Buccaneers this year, they're kind of an outlier. Most of your teams, you have to build it that way. I don't know. So, I mean, the Jets, absolutely not. The Dolphins, like you said, Miles, you got to give Tua a couple years. It's just you really put yourself so far backwards if you give a guy 1 year as a first-round pick and move on from him.
Yep. Yeah. And the one thing about Carolina, though, man, having you said that, I don't remember their offensive line being very good last year. Teddy Bridgewater was on the run quite a bit. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. He does need help. I mean, he's an electric player, but yeah, it's proven that he needs some blocking up front, which who doesn't, but he does. He does.
Well, I don't understand why San Francisco isn't in this talk.
I don't either.
I haven't heard anything about San Francisco making any kind of run for him whatsoever. I don't understand that. I have heard Denver, though. You know what? I have heard Denver in talks about it. I've seen that, matter of fact. Like, what would it take for Denver to get Deshaun Watson? Have you heard anything? Do you listen to local sports out there?
No, I sure don't. No. But, I mean, it would be nice, but I can't see that happening.
But I really don't understand why the 49ers are not in the discussion more than –
I think just because it's not coming out, I think that it doesn't rule them out from being in the discussion at all. The 49ers, when all this first started coming around, I really thought San Francisco was the leader in the clubhouse, and they still could be. Just the fact that they're not being leaked out there, there's a lot of politics being played in back rooms, people trying to kind of like jockey for position and stuff. I think that the 49ers makes a lot of sense for Watson and for the team, and they've been known to be aggressive, trading up to get players. They did something a couple years ago. It was kind of like a big move to move up in the draft and get somebody. They traded now from 2 to 3 with somebody. Damn it, I can't remember. But like nobody saw it coming, and then they wound up getting like a second first-round pick out of it. Everybody was just like really praising John Lynch for doing that type of stuff. He's a good GM, and Shanahan's really smart, and I think it makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. Same thing in Denver, though. Denver's got they're not like a great team, but they've got like a pretty okay nucleus around them. And I think that, they've got enough kind of space where they could breathe and bring some guys in free agency wise, at least while they repair their draft capital. If they brought Watson in, I'd like to see him either one of those two places more than the first 3 teams.
Yeah, I would. Don't get me wrong when I say I don't think he's coming to Denver. It's not like I wouldn't want him to.
I understand that.
Just John Elway. I mean, it would be good for him to do that, but in his past, leading up to this point, it just doesn't scream Deshaun Watson, his decision making.
I'll agree with that.
But I mean, it could happen, and I think it would be great. It might save his job for a few more years because he's just looked terrible ever since 2015.
He's bulletproof. He got a promotion this last year, so he's not even really the GM anymore, and he's getting paid more than a GM would, but he doesn't have any of the accountability of the GM. And so the guy that comes in underneath him is going to get all the flag for all the shitty decisions he's made, which is great. Hey, Elway, good job.
Yeah, good for him.
So
I heard his restaurant is good. Go ahead.
So keeping with the Houston Texans, they also released J.J. Watt after J.J. Watt asked to be released. We were talking about it before we came live, and they were just like, yeah, sure, cool. And so he's gone. So that's another piece that's missing from the Houston Texans, not just as a position player, but as the heart of the defense, who was J.J. Watt. That's exactly the type of person he was. That's what he meant to the team, and they were just like, fuck it, we're good. You're going your own way. So with that being said, John Clayton he was on a radio show in Pittsburgh, some ESPN affiliate, and the guy asked John Clayton because there was a lot of talk about him going to go play with his brother up in Pittsburgh. And when they asked John Clayton responded with no, that the top 3 teams for J.J. Watt to land right now is Green Bay, Buffalo, and the Tennessee Titans. And a very outside chance of the Raiders going for him too. Now, with Green Bay, they would have to make some crazy moves as far as cutting and stuff like that. And by the way, Aaron Jones must be a free agent this year because they're talking about, re-signing him because I guess they're having to make room or something. They got the least amount of cap space in order to get J.J. Watt. They can't make the moves to get him because they've already got people up for free agency that are they're going to end up releasing, except for Aaron Jones, which I'm pretty sure they're going to re-sign him because I mean, how can you not? How can you not re-sign Aaron Jones?
I think you should. Yeah, I agree that they should. I mean, I can't see how much J.J. Watt's going to put on to a salary cap, though. Do you think it's going to be a significant amount?
Well, I mean, he's 8 or 9 million is what he's going to be going for. Whether he'll get it or not, I don't know because the comic of Sue, however the fuck you say his name, Sue, that one dude from Detroit is now in Tampa Bay. He only got like 8 million last year, 8 or 9 million for a 1-year deal.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't know if J.J. Watt could pull that much.
Yeah, and it would be 1 or 2 years, I guess. Probably 2 years with him, I would think. But I like the Titans. Why not? I mean, hell, make it happen.
No, I definitely want him. I definitely want him here because we need the presence. We need someone on defense that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Yep, and he's already got familiarity with the scheme, because he was with Vrabel was the DC in Houston for a couple of seasons. Yep. So potentially, I don't think Clowney comes back, but potentially Clowney could come back, and you have him and Watt together.
No, I'm going to stop you right there. Clowney is not coming back. There's no way.
Could.
No
he
way.
Potentially could.
No.
All right. We'll see. I don't think he's going to do anything. I don't really want him back. Want and think he will be back is two completely different thought processes.
I thought it was a 1-year deal.
It was. They had to sign him again.
Yeah, then that's definitely not going to happen.
I don't know for sure. Look,
there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way.
It doesn't matter to me if he does or doesn't, but I'm just kind of
pointing out the fact should matter to you. You should be pissed if he comes back. What are you talking about?
If they just bring him in on third down or situational stuff, I mean that's basically what you want him for anyway. I mean he's not
for that
really
money.
Involved. Yeah, he's not involved as like a full 3-down player, 4-down player, whatever you want to call on defense. He's a tweener. He's athletically gifted, but he doesn't play hard all the time, and he's always hurt. His knees are shot. And, he's one of these guys that's going to come in and, maybe they'll have to dedicate part of the line to block him on a passing down. But, no, he's not going to do a lot else. I'm not trying to cover up a lot of this with, some Clowney BS. But I think the familiarity with all the stuff that's on the Titans, yeah, I think it'd be a good move to get Watt. Now, I mean, is he going to do anything? He only had 5 sacks last year. His productivity's dipped off. Injuries have really beaten him up.
Absolutely.
And that's unfortunate. But, still, I think he could help. I think he would be a stabilizing force. And honestly, as far as Titans go, Jarrell Casey was one of those stabilizing forces. They've had a couple players over the years that have really sort of been like the guy on defense, and other players rally around them and grow around them. And with Casey being gone off to Denver, which I don't know what the hell is ever going to happen with him. I'm still pissed about that trade. A Watt could come in and kind of replace that role. They need it.
Do you think that, having said that about Tennessee's defense, aren't we upset about their coordinator selection?
Yes. Oh my God. Oh no, no. There's a certain level which your team is at that you can inbreed your staff and start to promote guys from within instead of going outside the tree and finding somebody. They're not at that point, dude. You got to start over when your defense is as bad as it was last year.
Yeah, to promote within the organization of basically what contributed to the dismal performance they had last year. Why would you do that? That makes no sense. Vrabel's all about, promoting within. He wants continuity. Dude, your continuity sucks, man. Why do you want to continually suck? Because that's what your defense is doing. That's the only continuity we got going on in Tennessee is that the defense sucks. We haven't had a decent player since freaking Javon Curse on our freaking defense.
Yeah, has anybody last year get 5 sacks? Any one player?
Well,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I really don't think so. We went games without sacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Exactly, Miles. You're exactly right. He does look good. I mean, he got 5 sacks last year, and he didn't even play the whole season. So, do y'all know about Isaiah Wilson from Tennessee? Miles, I'm sure you don't hear about this much out there.
I saw a headline about it in the tweet business, but I really don't know his story too well.
All right, so he got drafted from Georgia. He even coming in. All right, Mike, do you know what he had gotten in trouble for?
In Georgia?
Yeah.
No, I think it was just a character concern. It was some college crap, partying, not working hard, and they didn't really listen to the signs there. And then he gets to the NFL and he kind of parties and doesn't work very hard.
He played 4 snaps last year. 4 snaps.
They were good though. Dude, some guy put on Twitter a highlight reel of all the Isaiah Wilson 2020 plays and had Sarah McLachlan playing in the background. I will remember you. And it just is this loop of him on an extra point blocking and getting his ass just run over over and over. Because the other 3 snaps were kneel downs, and that's the only time he got in the game the whole season.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's good.
Well,
look it up.
That's pitiful.
Yeah, his tweet was, "I'm done with football as a Titan. No further comment."
Well, shut it down then.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think you'll be missed too much, obviously.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go for 2 from now on.
Yeah, no, I mean, and they owe him a lot of money. Which me and Miles were talking about this yesterday, Mike. I don't know how this really works, but the whole rookie thing, I'm just not. I don't agree with them getting that big of a chunk of money on their first year playing, especially if they don't even play a down. Yeah, he played 4 downs or whatever. I'm not, but that doesn't count.
I don't think they would have to pay him any guarantees. I'm wondering why nobody's talking about this, but they suspended him a game last year for violation of team rules. And most contracts, and you may remember the Leonard Fournette situation from a couple years ago where they did void his guarantees. They have a provision in the contract says they can void all guarantees if you get suspended. Now, suspended means if a team suspends you or if the league suspends you for a drug test or if you get, personal conduct policy, most of the time they try to work it in there for these rookie contracts that it's a suspension, period. So if that's the case, I don't think they owe Wilson anything. I think they got to suspend him last year. He didn't contest it. He missed a game with no pay, and that basically voids off his guarantees. So they could, I think, cut him and not owe him anything. I don't know for sure.
That makes sense. I mean, I would, if, paying him the salary, obviously with rookie too, you're going to have some provisions in there to cover your ass or things like that. I mean, for sure, hopefully. Because he doesn't deserve to get paid any large sum of money, not after that kind of season or that kind of year. That's ridiculous.
But, good on him for getting drafted in the first round. I mean, it's kind of the Titans' fault for not really vetting this guy. It's just it didn't seem like a great pick at the time. I didn't know a lot about Isaiah Wilson. And now, clearly from the beginning, he didn't show enough to even get in the game, get on the field. Right. To really dress on a lot of Sundays. I mean, they didn't have any confidence in him from training camp, which says he was out of shape. For a lineman, if you completely suck, but you're in shape, you're going to get in the game somewhere. You'll be in the rotation. I mean, he couldn't make it anywhere game day. So no, it was a terrible draft pick, and I think it's more on the Titans than on him. I think the expectations were too high on him, and he was just not a good player coming out of college.
No, apparently, I mean, yeah. I mean, all right, so what had happened here, what he got suspended for, and this was right when he went on that the list, what was it?
COVID list.
No, it wasn't the COVID list. It was a non sports related injury or something like that is when he couldn't play. What that was, he went to a party at MTSU. Cops got called because they smelled weed at there. And then he went up to the second story and was threatening to jump.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so apparently, he has some mental things going on, and that was what that was about. So, I mean, maybe there is more shit going on. I just personally think he's just an immature dude that can't handle being told what to do and having to actually do it. I mean,
yeah. From this perspective, it's hard to disagree. Sorry.
Right. Yeah, from this perspective.
I'm not a psychotherapist. I'm a fan.
Yes.
I just want to see football. I don't care about anything else.
Right.
Does that make me a bad person?
No. It makes you an average person, an average fan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't wish any harm on anybody, but I've got enough of my own issues. I don't need theirs.
Right.
I just want to see them play football.
Well said.
I've done lost my spot. Sorry.
It's all right. Well, they need to get back on the horse next year and draft somebody and play. I mean, there's probably going to be more offensive line talent in the first round next year, and I think that they would do good to just draft another tackle. I mean, if they're not going to go defense in the first round, if there's not a can't miss player, just get another tackle. Because Taylor Lewan, I didn't realize this, but he's actually been around for a while now, and he's been injured a couple of times. I think you need somebody who is kind of like what Conklin was going to be able to switch in for him if he gets hurt. You got Kelly, what's his name? Damn it, forget his first name. But the guy that they traded Dorian Green Beckham a few years ago for, David Kelly. He's kind of a swing player, and he could play like either side if he needed to. They got like somebody like what they were trying to do last year with Wilson. They would be pretty good on offense for a good while.
I can't speak real knowledgeably about it. When I think of the Titans games and the ones I watched, I don't think of like a offensive line that was that bad. I mean, yeah.
Even with the injuries.
Yeah. Because Tannehill wasn't always on the run of his life or anything. I mean, he was able to sit back there and throw the ball. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, he didn't have many sacks this year. And, obviously their offensive line's pretty damn good because of, Derrick Henry got over 2,000 yards.
There you go. That's another
thing away from Derrick Henry. However, you got to have the offensive line to, get anything close to that. So, all right.
Yeah.
I hope
they go defense.
What's that?
I hope they go defense early. If there's somebody I really don't know coming out of college right now, but I hope there is.
I don't know.
I just don't want him to stretch for some guy, because sometimes that need will start really screaming loud, as the clock's ticking down, and then they just take somebody. And, man, there's so many misses in the first round of defensive players every year. Defensive linemen, you generally can do okay, but most of the good ones are gone by the end of the first round. And cornerbacks, dude, there's cornerbacks taken every year that just cannot play ball, and they get put in the game and get burnt. So I definitely don't want to do that. Fingers crossed.
No, I agree with that. So I sent y'all a couple of videos, or maybe it was just the one video I sent y'all, but did y'all see the viral video of Cam Newton getting heckled by his own camp? At his own camp, the boy was just like, "You're a free agent." That's all he kept saying. "You're a free agent." And Cam Newton kept saying, "Where's your dad?"
Who's your daddy?
Where's your pops? Where's your pops? And I was just like, "Oh, this is." Well, so that kid ended up issuing an apology, and it got tweeted because everybody, a lot of athletes were coming after the kid, not coming after him, but just saying how disrespectful he was being, and that was Cam Newton's camp that he put on himself.
Yeah,
it was disrespectful. Man. Yeah. I guess
they said, I guess, I can only imagine. What's this, a paid for camp, or was this some kind of charity where you have, kids with, maybe not the best upbringing coming in? Is it one of those kind of situations?
I don't think it was that situation. It was a 7-on-7 camp, and I don't know if it was
I'm not trying to make any assumptions here, but if you've got kids that are paying thousands or hundreds or whatever dollars to go there, they're going to have a little bit better of a little bit more affluent upbringing than if you had charitable children there that don't have any means to pay for something like that. They might have whatever. It's there.
No, I really don't know. Please explain further.
Oh, you understand what I'm saying? It's not. It's a child that is both. Any of them could be a smartass, really. I guess when you come to think of it. But I assume that I'm saying that if the parent or the kid paid hundreds or thousands of dollars to be there, then they probably wouldn't give him shit. Is what I'm saying.
Do you want me to take that shovel out of your hands?
No, I'm not. I've dug no hole. I've done nothing wrong. I mean, just think about it. If you're there because
absolutely no, I agree with you.
You're paying for the event.
Yeah, but to me, as someone that was paying for it, that was able to afford something that expensive, that kid was probably be a little shit anyways.
true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Didn't, most of those kids aren't disciplined like, the charitable kids are usually more disciplined. Mama's going to tell you what to do. You're going to get your ass beat. Now, the kids that get paying $1,000 to get in there, they've never had their ass beat.
That's a good point. Two sides of the coin. I wasn't going anywhere I shouldn't go with that.
I know.
Anybody that's trying to listen to here, they think that I'm some kind of conservative, neocon, right-wing crazy. No.
The opinions of Miles do not accurately reflect those of everybody else on the football dudes. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I was just thinking of bratty-ass kids. The kids, they all suck.
Yeah, there you go.
It's clout chasing TikTok generation kids. They wanted. I mean, the guy was filming the kid, and so there was, and a lot of times what gets lost in these videos is how did this come to be? Right. This kid had his phone pulled out and would just happen to be filming this kid chirping on this side, and then panning over to Cam. The whole thing's a setup, and something happened. This kid got he got his feelings hurt by somebody at the camp, and he decided to just start chirping. And then someone laughs. He's trying to play it up. Look, man, I mean, people don't get popular on the internet for being the smartest. That's not the competition. It's just stupid shit. And, I'm glad that they got this kid put out there on blast and that everybody got to say something about it. I mean, it was like a big deal for a couple of days. Yeah. And because everybody looked at that and had an opinion. Either they were like, no, man, this kid has a right to speak his mind. But most people were like, no, this kid needs his ass beat. He didn't have any respect for people. That's what's wrong with this generation. Back in my day, we walked uphill to school and then it all just kind of starts falling out. Then it turns into something else that's not supposed to be. Then Miles applies on it. And now, Jesus, now I'm really offended.
No. You changed my mind. Hey, Davis, you've actually changed my mind because come to think of it, a charitable kid would be more excited to be there than somebody who's paid for it. Yeah, that makes
sense. They usually appreciate shit more.
Yes, that is a good point.
But Cam handled it well for what it's worth.
Oh, he had a smile on his face the whole time. I think he handled it very well. I think another thing he kept saying is like, dude, I'm rich. I think that was another thing that he kept saying to the kid too. Where's your dad? And I'm rich. So, can't really argue with him.
Not coming to your camp. You're at mine, buddy.
Exactly. Oh, shit. So what about the other video that I sent y'all? I've got some news about that one.
The MMA guys?
Yeah, well, the football player from Oklahoma, the guy's ass beat by Yes.
You sent that?
Yeah, I sent that to y'all in the group text.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, because you even said you made a comment that you don't get in fights. Two things you don't do.
Oh, I did it. Yeah, it's not loading up there. Oh man. Oh, okay. So the Oklahoma receiver, dude, he had to have eye surgery. He got.
Yeah. Well, did you see the video?
Yeah.
You did see the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was great. And see, here's the thing. That dude's lawyer came out and said that the football player was trying to de-escalate the situation before he was viciously attacked by, I think, what's the guy's name? Something Brown is the guy's name. Warren Brown, I think is his name. I've got it right here. Hold on. And then his brother was the other guy in the video with them. But their dad owns a gym, an MMA gym. And they've been training for, wrestling and MMA gym. And they've both been, training their whole lives, They don't fight professionally or anything like that. But and I didn't know this until today. But if you watch that video, next time y'all watch it again, look at the boy is rubbing his nose. The one that ends up whooping dude's ass because his nose is bloody.
Uh-huh.
And he hasn't been able to say anything about it. But he did make a comment today because he set up a GoFundMe for himself because he's like, dude, because he's having to have surgery too. And he's getting a lawyer because, Walker is his name, Walker Brown. All right, so this is what he says. First, I would like to thank everyone for the generous support that I have received from all over the country. It is overwhelming, blah, 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 blah. I feel awkward saying this, doing this. I want to work, pay my own bills. All right. I will say that, yes, there was something that occurred prior to the start of the video as my nose doesn't bleed for no reason. Said, after I hire an attorney, I will make my statement so you will know my side of the story. Because the dude's lawyer come out and said, here it is. Mr. Walker was, no, that's somebody else. Sorry. Jones' attorney, Woody Glass, said in a separate statement that the football player was acting as a peacekeeper and tried to de-escalate the situation, but despite his best efforts, and he became the victim of this vicious assault. Did the lawyer not see the video?
No, that sounds like an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Just wow. Despite his best efforts of being the peacekeeper.
Well, if you couldn't tell from the last segment, I'm not good at talking about any kind of social media related things, so I'm just going to stay out of this and wait for football talk to come back on.
Yeah, I thought you did great. If not for Adam, man, I thought you were doing all right.
No, you did. I'll just have fun.
I'll take up the sword, man. Look, it's exactly what I said in that text. Which for those at home, those playing the home game, it's you go out to a bar, man. You don't know what's on the other side of that. That guy wasn't flinching. If you watch that video, that short kid, I mean, in the middle of a situation where two guys are clearly looking to rough him up a little bit, I mean, he had them dead eyes, and he wasn't twitching or shaking or nervous. And you got to be scared of some dudes like that. You have no idea. And he jumped on that guy like a rabid dog and messed him up.
Yes.
It was still ongoing when the video stopped. Mm-hmm. I mean, that kid got royally screwed up. So, two things that my dad always taught me: don't start a fight in the bar and don't get in a fight in traffic, because both ways it could go down and you have no idea, wouldn't be able to see it coming. So, guy got what he deserved, man. I mean, what was it, Oklahoma player?
Yeah. Something Jones. Yeah. Oklahoma. He played like 11 games last year or something with them. I mean, he's not like the number one receiver. I'm probably like a fourth stringer or something like that.
Dude, these kids get in situations where everybody's telling them how great they are, and they get the letters on the jacket. And you know how the college cities are. Yep. I mean, they just let the kids get away with anything. So he probably kind of felt like it was going to go down like that. Well, it went down.
Yeah. Yeah, it went down all right.
It's hard to bluff that kind of calm when you're in that kind of situation. Like, if you're not, able to do that naturally or trained to do that, you're not going to be able to bluff that. It's somebody in normal shoes is going to be starting to get a little rattle in their voice or getting a little shaky in their hands. Something's going to give them, and that guy was statuesque. So
he was until the friend, tried to push his head or something. That's when he lost his shit.
Well, yeah, but he didn't look intimidated like at all.
No. He was not intimidated. He was
like, where anybody else would be kind of like,
Yep. He did. He gave that grin, like, oh my God, y'all are going to regret this. Here we go. And then that was his brother that took down the other guy that was fucking with him too. So not only did, you go after somebody who was trained in MMA wrestling, you were also going against his brother that was brought up wrestling with his brother doing MMA. Wow. Couldn't write that shit.
Fun stuff.
Yep. So one other thing, or two other things I wanted to talk about. The Jags take on Amy Palak from the VP Communications from Texans. Because Texans just keep falling apart, from the players to the front office to, everybody's jumping ship over there. So, and I'm happy that the Jags got somebody to help with communications, because Urban Meyer done messed up and hired this racist prick from somewhere, Iowa or the strength and conditioning coach, who was not allowed to even coach last year in college because of the allegations against him. And after the investigations, they found something had to be credible, because they let the dude go. And like I said, he wasn't able to even coach last year. So what does Urban Meyer do? Oh, you know what? That's a perfect guy to bring in the NFL. He's a sketchy character. Might as well bring him in.
Yeah.
Yep. I think Urban's kind of going into some growing pains, and we talked about it a little bit when he was brought up before he even got hired for the job. He talked about, like, man, he's going to have to come into the NFL and understand that it works differently than college. College coaches they have such an air of invincibility around them for all the decisions they make. How many times you heard Nick Saban get in a press conference and straight up tell the reporters to shut up and that they're stupid and don't even ask me about that? I mean, he controls everything. I mean, he's like North Korean dictator in charge of, the news on the TV and the air you breathe and the water you drink. And then you get to the NFL, man, it's not like that. It's it's open season. It's full democracy, brother. And
Yep.
he's going to go through a little bit of this now because as his first season gets underway, if he's not winning right out the gate, it's not going to look good and it's not going to feel good. I don't know how long he's going to stick around, but it's not off to a great start, I guess. I think she's going to help. I think a good PR person is going to help him, though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's going to he obviously needs the help. I mean, some of the players that, matter of fact, I want to say it's either one or maybe two, but I know there's definitely one player on the team that had those allegations against that coach. Not even joking.
What a great fit.
I know. Like, man, you did not think that through at all. I guess he thought he was going to be able to sweep it under the rug. But,
well, yeah. There's a lot of mentality of, whatever it takes to win. I mean, unfortunately, that goes in both college and professional. But like Mike said, I can't agree with that more. I mean, it's in college, it's a little bit more easy to handle by the coaches' embrace over everything, whereas in the NFL, it's a little bit more structured democracy-wise. And there's a lot more. I can only imagine that there's a lot more access to the NFL and its surroundings than there is at college. I feel like they can kind of keep an iron grip on the college selection of people who are just going to talk.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. And, I think as long as you don't run afoul of NCAA rules, which is like the equivalent of the federal government, the state government's a lot easier to handle, which is the equivalent of, whatever like the conference is. And, I mean, I don't know, growing up, I've seen the SEC turn a lot of blind eyes to a lot of shit that goes on in that conference. And, I mean, outside of the SEC, it's even worse. So, yeah, very well put.
So Bezos' turn. Oh, sorry. We haven't even brought that up yet. My bad. So, yeah. Obviously, I'm moving into a different direction. Jeff Bezos is wanting to become a football owner, NFL football owner. He's going after the Washington football team. So apparently, this all came about when his attorney spoke with the Baltimore-based sports investment banking firm Moog and Company, which led the effort to sell a chunk of the team, according to the court documents obtained by Front Office Sports.
Well, I have no problem with it as long as I can return my Amazon packages to the stadium when I
go. Yeah, so that's crazy, dude.
That smart son of a bitch, man. That guy everything that he does, I'm just seeing it was a couple years ago when he buys Whole Foods and he's like, we're buying a grocery store. And everybody's like, what? You're buying a grocery store? And the next thing you know, the son of a bitch is letting you take back packages that you don't want from Amazon at the grocery store. How great is that? I mean, it's just beautiful. His logistics, the way he handles logistics with buying and selling packages through the mail or through whatever their own delivery, is just wonderful. So, I mean, I don't know if he's the smartest guy in the world or he just is smart by making people around him, having people around him to help him rise to a level. But I mean, this guy's going to be one of the most successful owners in football if he does, because he knows how to make smart moves with things, I guess. That's my take. I don't know. It seems like either he is smart himself or he just surrounds himself by the right people that make good decisions with him and for him, because he's had the golden touch, man.
Well, apparently Snyder is suing a media company, MEA Worldwide, for a defamation lawsuit. And Bezos was mentioned in some kind of courtroom documents today in New Delhi. I'm terrible at pronouncing shit.
I think you had it right the first time, New Delhi.
New Delhi? All right.
But, the thing is Bezos, now that he's this ultra mega whatever he is, he's probably weird too. He's probably gotten all weird. He knows what he's doing in the dark, I mean, so we'll see. I'm telling you, man, you get the most money in the world. What do you do next? You start doing weird shit.
Let's go. No, man. I think a lot of people don't really think about this first when they think about Amazon. The most profitable thing that Amazon does, Amazon Web Services. And if you have the guy who's mostly responsible for that, bringing him into the league, and all of a sudden he starts incorporating a lot of those types of ideals and just procedures of kind of going about things, I think that he can increase their brand, because, I mean, there's a lot of things the NFL still hasn't really taken advantage of, if we're really going to be honest about it. I mean, the NFL apps and their website, it's kind of second tier. I don't really think that they're all that great.
Yeah, the NFL app is shit. It is it's crap. It's just average. It's just like YouTube with less interesting articles.
Dude, Yahoo has the best fantasy football app. It's been that way for a long time. There's no competition. The NFL should not allow another media website, whatever you want to call it, to be able to take over that aspect of it, because there's so much money that could be made if they're able to own that. And to bring in a Bezos or whoever, whatever his team is going to be that comes in with the team, it's not so much about Washington. It's the fact that he's one of 32 shareholders now, and he could rip stuff up, man. I mean, they could make twice as much money as they're making, because also you have the streaming rights. I don't know how you guys watch games. I stream almost every game now, and
everything.
Probably 4 or 5 years ago, I was still doing Sunday Ticket and spending $300 a year more than I had to watch damn football games. I probably shouldn't be watching anyway because I had other shit to do. But now people are getting away from that, and you have to kind of transition with it. And they're a little bit behind, man. NBC, who else has got the streaming rights? ESPN,
CBS.
Like they're all, CBS. They're all really kind of like pushing this stuff and exploring it. So if they really like wanted to get involved and get ahead of all the other sports leagues, they could do it easily. They just need somebody.
Amazon Prime already has a package right now where you can buy for NFL games.
I didn't know that, but I know they throw the Thursday night ones up there on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you can get just about any game you want. You just got to order it. But
That's like, why the hell can you not order a single game? Like, instead of Mike was saying with the package, why do I have to get a whole? Why can't if I'm here in Denver and I want to see the Titans play, why can't I pay $15-$20 for that game? What's the problem?
Yep.
Hold up.
It's going to, I know I would spend more money. The NFL would get more money from me if they do that.
But having said that, there's probably a lot of legacy bullshit and TV contracts that keeps them from doing that, because
I'm sure there is.
There's probably a ton of that, because it's not like, football's been around for a long time, and it's been a moneymaker for a long time. And I'm sure, there's been blackouts that I don't even understand that happen. Like, why on earth is this being blacked out nationally? And it's because of some bullshit, dumb legacy contract they've got with somebody.
It's just like they can't go to a different game when another game's playing, when the game that you're watching is like 52-0, but you got another game on a different channel that's like, a good game, or not even on a channel, excuse me. I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me.
Right. Jerry Jones. That's Jerry Jones.
Yeah. They're renegotiating the TV contracts now, so maybe some of that stuff will change soon. Usually it takes a little while to do it. They'll probably announce some kind of deals being wrapped up before the season this year, before free agency next year, and they'll have all the new contracts in place, and they'll kind of know what's coming. And I imagine these streaming rights are going to be a lot more expensive, and they're going to try to really jump on top of that. I would if I were them. That's really where TV is going, dude. I don't know. I don't go to a lot of people's houses anymore, obviously, because of COVID, but the last, probably 10 to 15 people's houses that I've been to, the majority used to have either DirecTV or Comcast, and it's kind of flipping the other way. There's so many different ways to watch TV now that don't involve either of those two options that we used to have to go through. And you've got to really be in front of that, or it's going to kill you, man. They're going to start losing money like they did a few years ago when their ratings were dropping.
Yep.
So today is the 24th of February, and yesterday was the first day of the franchise and transition tags. Do y'all know if anybody's been franchised or transition tagged yet? I haven't heard of anything yet either.
What's Dak? What's his story? Is he involved with that this year?
No. I haven't heard anything about him yet.
Okay. Because that's still another thing, right? Being franchised again? Or is that still up in the...
I don't know. Isn't he a free agent now?
If they don't franchise him, he would be. Or they'd have to sign him. But I think they're going to wait a little bit. I think, obviously, where he's at in his recovery, they're going to need time to figure it out. And the team's going to play but you're injured. And he's going to play but I was throwing for 500 yards a game. I bet he gets franchised again, because, they're not going to be able to agree on that.
That's going to cost him a lot. He's making good money getting franchised each year, isn't he?
Yeah, buddy.
So good for him.
Well, he deserves it. He deserves more.
I heard today Jonnu Smith might get franchised by the Titans. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that happening either. Paying him as one of the top tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. But I mean, who knows? You know, Titans they're going to have to make some cap space room, and how they're going to do. I mean, Davis is gone. Guarantee you that. Corey Davis is going to be gone. Adam Humphries is going to be gone, and then who else? Somebody else on the offense, which it's not going to be that big of a deal. But we need all the help on defense. Just get some defense, man. Get some defense.
The draft's going to be a big fix. I mean, you can't spend money to keep everybody and have a decent team. It doesn't work that way.
No. So when is the draft? What's the date of that?
Great question.
Really thought
it's always a classic April.
Is that usually when it is?
It's usually like April the 26th, 28th. This year it looks like it's the 29th. It's on Thursday. April 29th. God, a lot's going to happen before then, though. Because, another thing, too, all these trades that have been going on, the Goff trade, and then there was a trade the other day, right, for somebody. Oh, the Wentz trade. All this stuff's not even official yet. It's not official yet. It's agreed upon, a handshake, but it's not official. It could change at any point in time in the next couple of weeks until free agency starts. So you have that. You have actual free agency starting, and then whatever the combine is going to look like, then the draft. It's going to be interesting the way they stretch all this stuff out because they got to fill in all this space and try to cover a lot of TV time talking about stuff. Man, it's going to be crazy. I don't know how they're going to do it. It reminds me of 2011 when they had the lockout and they literally had nothing to do because there was no free agency in March. They had to kill 4 months talking about the draft. And you saw people visibly being bored and pissed off talking on TV every day. That was a fun thing to watch. I actually like that better than the normal shit they talk
about. Well, I'll be watching March Madness and then the basketball playoffs. That's the only 2 months out of the year that I watch basketball is March and April, and obviously May if they carry on. That I like a team that I like. Denver's looking good, man. The Nuggets look good.
Memphis ain't. It's the closest thing we got.
How's their boy doing? Morant, Ja. I haven't seen him this year. I haven't seen Memphis play at all.
No, they're doing shit.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. That's my nephew's favorite team because it's a Tennessee team. I gotta hand it to him. You know, he trying to be loyal, I guess, to the state, but if they suck.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into it now, and I can't, man. Regular season basketball is just so boring.
It is boring, especially when they're already sitting players. They're already resting people. I'm like, come on now. There's no reason for that. Okay, here we go. But all right, guys. Well, I guess that's pretty much it.
All right.
So
what are we going to come back after the net free agency starts up or something?
Maybe.
I think it'd be good.
When does that start?
A couple weeks. I guess I'll look that up too. I've been sitting here hemming on about it. Free agency 2021. Free agency start. Yep, that's the question I asked. March 15th.
March 15th. Awesome. Well, maybe we'll get back right before that. It depends. I mean, if something happens, there's some shit to talk about, we'll come back. If not, we'll see everybody then.
I'm on call. Let me know.
Cool.
All right.
Take it easy.
See ya.